Hey everybody, and welcome to the Bullring presented by Raceface Driver Development. I'm Alan Dietz along with Jess Ballard. Jess, we have got a packed show today. I didn't realize how packed till I looked at it here.
Absolute all-star lineup.
Yes, Kurt Busch, Dylan Zampa, Josh Berry, Emily Krause from Wall Stadium, Jared Irvin, of course, Matt Weaver will be with us, and joining us now is Rod Wortham, because we don't want to race any time because we can't afford to waste any time. So first off, Rod, you have been a great proponent of Racing America with Raceface, but you guys have got into the digital collectible world. Tell me a little bit about these digital driver cards you guys have got.
Well, what we wanted to do is we wanted to give the driver a way to be able to connect with their fans in a digital world. And we kind of looked out there, and I mean, everybody's doing it. Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, NHL, they're all doing digital cards. So we wanted to come up with a digital card for grassroots racers. That's what we've done. And we've opened that up. It's not just for Raceface drivers. It's any driver out there wishing to promote their brand, give their sponsor more additional exposure, and be able to earn income all at the same time.
This is, I just the other day was thinking about, because we've seen this in NASCAR a little bit, how cool it would be in short track racing. So this is really exciting. I'm going to have to give you a call maybe and discuss, because Travis, if you're watching, we got to hop on this. This is amazing. And it's truly so important for these grassroots racers to be hopping on these trends in terms of, you know, working with their partners and making sure they're providing a value.
Well, and a way for them to be able to earn income doing this. I mean, we all know that racing is so expensive, and so anything that we could do, a driver actually gets 3,400 cards minted in 5 different editions. If they sell all their cards, they're going to earn like $6,400 in commissions off of those sales. And like I said, you know, at the same time being able to promote the brand, so that becomes a win-win for everyone, and fans are looking for that. I know that it's new and it's going to take a little while for fans to kind of adapt to that. But, you know, the one thing that we do is I look back as a young kid, I collected baseball cards. Well, fans can now do this, but they can do it in a digital world, and it's actually stored in their own private, what we call My Pick collection. Is where they can actually showcase their collection.
And they can trade cards just like we did with baseball and football cards.
Trading cards is going to come right after the first of the year. That is the toughest thing about being able to program this. But we're definitely on top of that, and we think that right after the first of the year, you know, we're doing a little bit of a rollout at PRI. But right after the first of the year, fans are going to be able to trade their cards.
Well, it's something that we are very much behind at Racing America. And as Jess said, I think this is the next trend in racing collectibles. We got a lot to catch up with you on, Rod, but I just wanted to get you on real quick today to tell everybody about that, and thank you again for Raceface and all your support.
All right, so any drivers that want to enroll, go to racefacedigital.com and make sure when the invite code pops up that you use RA1. And Alan, thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, no problem. Be sure to check that out. Speaking of checking it out, we're going to talk to Kurt Busch. He's going to be at the Kawiki Driver Development Banquet here on Racing America, and he'll join us next.
The 55th Annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway. It's the pavement every driver wants to race. 300 laps. Only one driver can take home the title. Don't miss your chance to watch history. Only on Racing America at racingamerica.com.
PFC Brakes has more championships than any other, and now they're on every champion's car as the official brake provider for the Camping World SRX Series. Remember, PFC Brakes. The secret is it's quicker.
Get crafts, sporting goods, restaurants, and the future of NASCAR all from your neighborhood. DoorDash.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Hey, I'm William Byron, and you're watching Racing America.
Welcome back to the Bullring presented by Raceface. And Jess, we're really glad to have our next guest on because the folks will be able to see him on the Kawicki Driver Development Banquet coming up December 14th here on Racing America. That is Kurt Busch. And Kurt, really appreciate you giving us a few minutes here this afternoon.
Of course. No, thank you for having me on. It's nice to meet with you guys and chat a little bit about racing.
Well, I definitely want to talk to you about short track racing and the Kawicki Driver Development Program, but, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how you're doing. And I know this year didn't go the way that you wanted it to, obviously. Were your plans affected as far as your career path by the injury, or is that something that you had in mind going into this season anyway, that this was going to be your final full season?
Things changed just a little bit with the accident in Pocono. I mean, you can plan all you want for the future, and yet when something like that happens, with this full frontal concussion issue, it definitely changed the path. But something for me, I was prepared with, the next couple of years. I was definitely looking at just kind of winding things down and running more of a part-time schedule. But this one just kind of abruptly changed things, and I'm doing well. I'm about 90%, still missing that last little bit to be able to have my heart rate up and to have that full focus in the race car. But with Monster Energy, 2311, Toyota, all my sponsors and family within the team, we're going to find a new role in different things just a little sooner versus where I was going to head towards things in 2024.
I know with your experience and as smart as you are, I'm sure NASCAR is leaning on you some with some of the changes they need to make to this car to make it less rigid.
Yeah, the car is definitely very abrupt and firm with its rear impacts. I mean, all directions, really. The car just needs to have a bit more crush zone, softer materials to help absorb these big impacts and, not hurt the driver and have the shock go right through the seat and into our body. And so a lot of little things here and there, and we're making good strides in communicating about all the different elements, because the car is doing a great job of protecting drivers on the big impacts, like Cody Ware at Texas or big Talladega wrecks or Atlanta. But the little impacts are what are adding up quick. And those are the things that we have to just make the car a bit more of absorbing material.
Kurt, we are so excited to have you joining the Kawicki Driver Development Program at their banquet coming up next month.
Yep.
And I think it is so inspiring, motivating to these drivers to, interact and hear from a driver that came from, the same scenario that they did. And I know that they're going to love to hear what you have to say. Do you have a favorite memory of coming up through the ranks of grassroots racing?
No, it's going to be so much fun to give back to a sport that has given me so much. And, the family aspect, the working hard aspect, and just really just going after it because you have it in your soul. That's what a lot of these kids and families are doing because they just love racing. And so I'm happy to give back and to talk to them, to coach them, and to add to this program that Tom Roberts, my old PR guy that I was with at Penske years and years ago, he was with the Kawicki group way back. And then with Tony Gibson, my Daytona 500 winning crew chief, when we won Daytona together, Tony Gibson, has given so much to this program. I'm going to do what I can to help motivate the kids. And, the story that I have is really working 3 jobs and being with 3 different race teams and just continuing to push. And my favorite part of it all was people in college, like my teachers or professors or friends that were around me in my late teens, early 20s. They're like, hey, you got to quit this racing thing and focus on life. Life's going to pass you by because you're just kind of heading down the wrong path. I'm like, no, this is something that I know that I want to do. And that's really the best part of how I was able to make it, was I just kept pushing and defying all the odds. And it was just because of the passion and the way that I wanted to absorb all the information about racing. It was the other people, the people within racing, that turned out to be my family, not necessarily the regular life.
You're one of the first batch that really sort of came up through a development program, you and Kyle, to a certain extent. What advice would you give a young driver that's in a late model wanting to get the trucks and go up, and how they deal with setbacks and success?
Yeah, I think with my path, legend cars were like the perfect timing of things. And that's where I learned to work on the car with my dad. It was setting up the scales and stringing the car, the bump, the toe, the caster, the camber. You have to learn about the car. And that's what I encourage every young driver to do, is to be at the race shop as much as possible and just be there working on it and learning all about it. Because when you do that, and then when you race it, you understand it at a higher level, and you appreciate the work that goes into it. Because if you just show up and drive, you don't really know the effort that all the crew members and all the volunteers and people, family, put into that race car. And so when you put in your own time, you respect it better when you're out on the racetrack.
Well, Kurt, it's great talking to you and seeing how you're doing. We can't wait to see what you have to say to these young drivers come December, and we look forward to seeing you then.
Of course. No, thanks again for having me on. And I guess the last bit of advice is just not to put everything into that one race. It's not just one snowball derby that's going to make your career happen. It's the full effort, 365 days.
No doubt. Well, thanks again.
You got it, guys.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk to this year's KDDP champion. That's Dylan Zampa.
What creates a winning combination? Quality, focus, discipline, and most importantly, speed. At Pepperjack Kennels, we provide exceptional water and land training services for hardworking retrievers. From leading in the field to leading on the track, together we establish winning dogs and a winning team. Devoted to retrievers and motorsports, we are Pepperjack Kennels. Visit us online to learn more.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Race fans, it is time for the 2022 Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 from 417 Southern Speedway. Saturday, November 26th, live on Racing America. Watch the best super late model drivers from the state of Florida and around the country battle side by side for 128 laps and a $30,000 payday. You can check out all the racing action live on Racing America.
From a distance, one driver that's really big influence for me was Steve Kinzer. Come from an open wheel dirt racing background. Spent many of weekends watching them come out and race the Silver Nationals and racing at Silver Speedway and other tracks. More personally, though, Scott Lindquist played a pretty heavy role in helping me understand a dirt late model and become a better dirt late model driver. But even diving further into that, Tommy Hicks worked for him for a very long number of years and really helped me along in understanding the aspects of what to watch for, what to maintain, what to really pay attention to on the cars to keep them running week in and week out with the busy 60 to 80 races we run in a year. So Scott and Tommy both played very big roles, both in different ways, and certainly wouldn't have the drive or the knowledge that I do today without them.
Glad to have you back here with us on the Bullring. I'm Alan. She is Jess, and we appreciate our friends with the Race Face Driver Development sponsoring today's show. Of course, we just spoke to Kurt Busch, being joined now by the KDDP Champion for 2022. That is Dylan Zampa. First off, Dylan, congratulations on the championship. And I got to think, in a way, anything short of a championship this year was going to be a disappointment, having been part of the program last year.
Yeah, we came into the season looking to be just a little bit stronger than we were last year. Last year, it definitely was a bummer that we came up just one spot short to Luke, but Luca had an outstanding season. He did everything perfect with winning championships at Slinger and just where Alan raced, so he just did a perfect job last year. And this year, our plan was just to go above and beyond, and I feel like we did that with the community service work, especially with trying to do it every single race, with it either being a fundraiser for a local food bank or going to the Ronald McDonald House near a track. So, I had a blast doing all that, and I plan to keep moving forward with the community service even next year and above and beyond.
And you know what, Jess, is great? As part of the KDDP program, you know where I'm going with this. They don't have to go to jail to do community service. They actually don't have to break the law.
That's amazing. What a great opportunity, Alan. Dylan, congratulations. We've seen how this program has really, catapulted young drivers into the next steps of their career. It's really a program, like Alan mentioned, that develops these drivers like yourself, not only on the track, but off the track, in all those different categories that you have to be strong in to make it. And so I'm really excited to have Kurt Busch join the banquet, because I think that he's got a unique perspective and he can kind of tell the whole story about how all that has come together for him. So anyway, what's your biggest takeaway from the entire program this year?
It's kind of hard to put a finger on it. There's so many. The community service definitely has changed me the most. It's definitely opened my eyes to there's a lot of work to do, out there in the world, whether it be, just going to a food bank and just helping clean or sorting some food, or just all the small things that I feel like that a lot of people don't realize that are super easy to do. And, this year was, our main focus was the community service. Obviously we focused on the racing a lot, we did a lot of racing. We did like 26 races or something. So, but definitely the community service was probably one of my biggest takeaways. So it was great to learn from last year, and this year was definitely a big learning curve, and I don't plan to stop at all for next year.
One of the great things about the banquet this year is, in addition to Kurt Busch, they're going to have a round table with Paul Andrews, and I think Kyle Petty's going to be a part of it, and people, Jerry Punch, that were at that race back in 1992. Having been part of the program now for 2 years and getting to learn about Alan Kulwicki, what do you feel like is the lesson of his life that can help you not only in racing but beyond?
Definitely has to be how he was a a self-owned race team. Just like Tony Stewart, he's self-owned, and I feel like that kind of relates to our team. We work out of a little 2-car garage, and it feels like a 1-car garage because the toolbox, everything's in there. So it's a little one-way lane to work, and I feel like that's kind of where I learned the most from him. He worked out of a little tiny shop when he first started racing Cup, so I feel like that relates the most to us. And having Kurt Busch and Kyle Petty and all these big names going to be there, it's definitely going to be something special, and it's going to be more probably one of the best days to be around winning a championship and having, Kurt Busch and Kyle Petty, all those big names there. So it's definitely going to be a really special night.
Yep, and that'll be December the 14th here on Racing America. Any idea on your plans for next year?
Yeah, our plans are going to be to run a full 2023 SRL Southwest Tour Super Series. So we'll be running Super full time, which will be 11 race series. And hopefully we'll run some short track super late model races up here in Roseville. They're hopefully creating a little super late model series there. So that'll be cool. Hopefully that goes through. And then we'll just be running the pro late like last year. And we'll be hitting up a lot of the big races, hopefully with the pro late models up on the West Coast.
Well, I hope you're working on that speech. Get ready for that. You got plenty of time to, and we look forward to seeing you here in December.
Thank you.
All right, that's Dylan Zampa, this year's Kawiki Driver Development Champion. The only person that may be busier than Dylan Zampa is Josh Berry. He has been really busy since the Xfinity Series ended. He's going to be at the Snowball Derby. He's going to join us when we come back.
Every legend has a story. Every story a hero. Before their destinies were written, they raced here in the Snowball Derby. Busch, Elliott, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Wallace, and Pollard, modern-day legends of racing. This year, who will history smile upon? The most prestigious short-track race in America takes place December 1st through 4th at Five Flags Speedway. For event information, visit snowballderby.com. Legends start here.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
It's race time on Short Track America. Dirt or pavement, from east to west. Short Track America features some of the biggest grassroots races around the country. Super late models to street stock racing. If it's on a half-mile or smaller track, it's on Short Track America. On MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety and the exclusive importer for Schroth belts and Schubert helmets. When risk is around every corner, let our experts help you select the best harness belts, head restraints, helmets, and racing attire for your type of racing. Don't make safety an afterthought. We have 25 years of experience of educating our customers on all aspects of driver safety and providing the most advanced driver safety products to NASCAR, IndyCar, sprint cars, and sport cars. Visit our stores in Mooresville, North Carolina, or Danvers, Massachusetts, or check us out online at hmsmotorsports.com to learn the details of our products and, of course, order online.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kuhn, and you're watching Racing America.
Welcome back to the Bullring. Of course, we're going to have a busy few days coming up here soon. We're going to tell the people where they can see you at down in Pensacola for some live on location Bullrings. But one of the guys that'll be down there, and we're glad to see him on the entry list, is NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Josh Berry. And Josh, first off, thanks for being with us. And we were just talking about it prior to the last break. You've been pretty busy behind the wheel since the Xfinity Series ended.
Yeah, a little bit. We got a busy couple weeks coming up here. Obviously, I was part in taking Dale to Florence this past weekend and doing that race, and planning on doing the Thanksgiving Classic in the Bass Pro Shops ride that he drove. Hopefully the weather holds off and everything for that. It doesn't look great right at this moment, but we'll see how that all materializes. But yeah, and then obviously Snowball Derby with Rackley, we tested before Florence. Like I said, that was fun to get down there and get to experience that a little bit, get to test and actually work a little bit more towards that. And I'm excited to go back. We had a good day down there, and we'll see what we can do.
Josh, I always want to celebrate for a quick second whenever we have someone on the show that we watched come up through the grassroots ranks and has made it on the big stage. So we're really excited to have you on. Before we get into the Snowball Derby, can you just kind of debrief us on what happened at Florence?
It sounds like it was wild. I grew up going to Florence, Josh, and I never in a million years thought 55 cars would try to qualify for a race there and that we would ever see a crowd like that.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience for sure. I think they started turning people away probably at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was definitely pretty full. Florence doesn't hold a lot of people, so that was something that they were up against with the parking and all that. But they had a full house. I think it ended up being around 3,000 people. I don't know if that's completely right or not, but that was kind of what I'd heard. And yeah, for the race, it was interesting for sure. Dale we didn't qualify the best. Left a little bit out there, we felt like, so we actually ended up starting like 26th, and he just steadily moved his way forward. Honestly, he ran a really good race. Ended up, by the end of it all, we were passing for third, and spun the guy out off of 2, got penalized. Kind of regrouped in the back there, dodged a couple melees. It kind of got wild at that point, and heck, we ended up back up into the top 10 pretty quick. Got back to was passing for 5th, and he got loose underneath the zero car and got him, spun him out. So it was an interesting little sequence of events there. But he had a blast. We had a good car, and it was fun. He was kicking himself after the race for making those 2 mistakes, but in the end, he's only done this a handful of times in the last 20 years. So every time we take him racing, he's going to learn a little bit more and get more used to those cars. Racing cup cars for 20 years is a lot different than a late model stock at Florence. So he's adapted well, and it's been a good time, and we're looking forward to doing it some more in the future.
When you look at the Derby, albeit, most of your experience in late models was in late model stocks. I know you have ran supers, those some. When you get into these extended distance races, how do you tackle these races, especially now that the Derby doesn't have live pit stops?
Yeah, it's going to be unique. I think that, every one of these races is so different. Obviously, with the controlled caution part of the Derby makes that, it's a little less, randomness with the pit stops and the strategy, right? You kind of can figure out when you're going to pit or not. But, it's something that, I'm still kind of learning. We haven't really done that a whole lot in the late model stock side. We have longer races, but you can plan them out a little bit more than what the Derby is. We know you don't normally know when there's going to be a break or a caution, halfway break, whatever in the late model stocks. The Derby can be a little different there. You kind of have to, it's more of a strategy. And I know that, my experience in the Xfinity Series the past year, a couple of years, I think will help make the Snowball Derby seem a little bit more normal to me. So, it's a great race. It's really awesome. I went there in 2019, had a great time, really enjoyed going and doing that. But, 20, you had COVID and everything going on there. last year I really tuned in for all of the coverage that you guys put on there, and was told myself that I wanted to try to put together a program to go back and have a really strong effort down there, and luckily was able to do that with Rackley War. So I'm excited to go back.
Well, Josh, we're excited to see you back in the Derby. Very proud of you, as Jess said. Continued success in the Xfinity Series, and we'll see you here in about a week or so.
Cool. Thank you, man. Thank y'all for having me.
All right, that's Josh Berry after a great year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, again returning to the Snowball Derby. When we come back, we're going to catch up with Matt Weaver about everything going on in the world of short track racing.
Sunday, December 4th at the 55th Snowball Derby. Singer-songwriter Leah Marlene live in the Hooters Fan Zone at 11 a.m. Presented by Pepperjack Kennels and The Tool Shack. Star of Season 20 of American Idol performing live at the biggest super late model race in the world in a special acoustic set. Don't miss Leah Marlene live at Five Flags Speedway.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
I bet, that's what they all say. Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Rhino Classifieds is an online classifieds platform built for racers and race fans. Rhino makes finding parts, trailers, and specialty vehicles easy. Posting is free. Signing up is free. That's a lot of free. So jump in and join the most streamlined motorsports-focused classifieds out there at rhino.co. That's RYNO.co.
Well, lots going on in the world of short track racing, although the year is almost over. And we're being joined now here on the Bullring by Racing America's Matt Weaver. And Matt, first off, I'm going to ask, can there be too much of a good thing? And I am going to give an unpopular opinion here, perhaps, maybe not, but I grew up going to Florence. They did not go in to this past weekend's race knowing that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to run it. But with that being said, can there be too much of a good thing for a place that doesn't have outside pits, that doesn't have a whole lot of grandstands? And then the unpopular opinion I'll give, I don't think they should have started more than 30 cars in that race. What are your thoughts?
Well, you threw a lot at me, right? So,
and I'm not ripping anybody I don't want anybody to think I'm ripping anybody with the racetrack, but it just, there seems like there's been some negativity that's come out of this race.
Yeah. So listen, I think there are some logistical things that they probably could have shored up a little bit more once it became apparent that the Dale Jr. was racing. Listen, I was a little critical of from the number of preliminary races, but I thought that once those problems became apparent, the fact that they were an hour and a half behind schedule, Steve Zacharias and his crew did a pretty good job to try to pivot and get things back on track. Listen, I'm a firm believer that when you have a specialty event, not a not a a weekly show, and you advertise a 7:45 start, and you end up taking the green at 9:30. I think that's something that could alienate some casual fans, because I think the opportunity there when you've got a Dale Jr. racing is that you can try to turn a NASCAR fan into a short track fan, and so you want them to have a good time. And I've spent a lot of time the last 2 years in dirt world, more than I ever had before, going to World of Outlaw races, Lucas Oil races, and those are specialty events, not a weekly show.
And they get over at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right. They those shows are tight. Seriously, like a World of Outlaw show?
Not all dirt shows. I'm talking about some other dirt shows.
Yeah, so listen, I'm talking about your marquee
Right.
World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil, late model series. Those things are super tight. You've got one prelim race, and you've got the show they came to see, the main event. And listen, these are all very broad topics, right? I mean, I'm sure that if Steve could go back and do some of this again differently, he would. But the cool thing was, I thought, and this is the best part about it, despite some of the logistical hurdles and how late of a night that turned into, I think everyone had a good time. I don't know if there was an exit survey, what the fans think, but they had a good time. They saw their favorite driver race. They saw a really wild, incredible show. It goes back to what we talked about last week on this show, too much of a good thing. Well, there's a lot of good things happening right now this time of the year, and it's not overshadowed by NASCAR. So I don't know that I want less of it, because right now this is a great opportunity for short track racing to shine. And so I'm all for more of these late after NASCAR season marquee late model and tour type modified races, because this is the one time of the year where they get the entirety of that spotlight. So to me, it's all good.
Looking at it from a positive standpoint, again, having grown up down there, Florence was a place that, to me, I saw the best races at. But once Myrtle Beach shut down, I don't think that the South Carolina 400 was going to have the same prestige. I think all of that got wiped out this past weekend. I mean, it seems like this race has kind of gotten back to that Myrtle Beach 250 type event.
I think it's better. I mean, so I do a year in review kind of awards thing every year, and the past 2 years, the South Carolina 400 was my race of the year, and I said it with like 20 laps to go. It's like, I've seen enough. Make it 3 years in a row. Greatest race of the year.
Hey, we're going to have the short track awards here. So is that your nomination right now?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I did that last year at Racing America too. It was the South Carolina 400,
Okay.
and I feel pretty strongly again. I love Florence, right? It's a great racetrack. It's got all the best attributes of Myrtle Beach with the tire wear, the tire conservation, but it's half the size. And so I think it makes for much more, close quarters racing. No one gets strung out. It's just wonderful racing. And to me, you talk about the field size, the more the merrier, because that's more lap traffic, more things to navigate. And some of the best racing I saw on Saturday night was once the leaders got into lap traffic, and there's some lap traffic that's easier to navigate than others. And I think sometimes, we see it in NASCAR. They've got the rule now to where the damaged vehicle policy, they get the junked cars off the racetrack. That's hurt the racing so much. I want cars out there rolling around 6 miles per hour off the pace, getting in the way of the leaders, affecting the racing, because that's actually an enhancement to the racing product.
Matt, this is the last time we're going to talk to you before we're all down in Pensacola for the Snowball Derby. And last week, and last week I asked you, we talked about how, you can't really have any predictions as far as how who's going to win, how the race is going to play out. So I won't ask you that again. But if you were going to give an elevator pitch to someone who had never heard of the Snowball Derby or had just, for whatever reason, never tuned in, give us like a quick elevator pitch on why this is such a big deal.
Well, I would say this year, if I'm trying to sell your casual NASCAR style fan on the Snowball Derby, well, the immediate pitch is that there's going to be a lot of faces and a lot of names that you recognize, a lot of drivers who race on TV on Saturday and Sunday. They're either going to be here driving a car, or some of them just come and hang out with their friends, and they're actually crew members. It's a lot of fun from that regard.
And some haven't been announced yet.
Some haven't been announced yet. So a lot of star power. You're going to recognize a lot of names you see on Sunday, but it's a great opportunity to learn about these names that you kind of hear on the periphery. Like NASCAR fans kind of broadly know who Bubba Pollard, Stephen Nasse, Augie Grill, Derek Thorne, those kind of like Matthew Craig, right? They know the names because they see the headlines kind of from afar. But I think this is the best opportunity you have to learn who they really are when they go door to door with Cup Series drivers. It's the same thing with Chili Bowl, right? I mean, you know who Larson and Bell are. And then when you see them go head to head with the Tanner Thorson, it makes him winning that race last year a really big deal because you learn who he is because he beat the Cup guys, even though Tanner Thorson is just as good in that discipline as a Bell and Larson, right? So that's my pitch. There's going to be a lot of names that you know, a lot of names that you've heard of racing with them, and this track is spectacular. We all know, we talk about tire fall off. Tire fall off at Pensacola is huge, and it makes for a really compelling racing product. A lot of things in the driver's hands that they can control. It's just a really good racing show in addition to the star power.
And Matt's going to have us covered on our social channels as well as racingamerica.com with all sorts of news from down there. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you down in Pensacola.
Yeah, I can't wait already. Truck's already packed, ready to go. I just got to start driving.
Well, we'll see you down there. And you know what? We're actually going to see a Derby this weekend. To learn more, come back after this break.
Welcome to RaceFace Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then RaceFace Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
PB Blaster busts the toughest rust anywhere it's found.
That's what I'm talking about.
Penetrate tough rust with complete control.
That's right, baby.
PB Blaster. Don't bust your knuckles, bust your nuts.
Get some.
Get up on your feet, race fans.
The 55th Annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway. It's the pavement every driver wants to race. 300 laps. Only one driver can take home the title. Don't miss your chance to watch history. Only on Racing America and racingamerica.com.
Well, Jess, as I promised, the Derby is going to be this weekend. Now people are freaking out down at Five Flags and Pensacola and everywhere saying, what is Alan talking about? Well, I am correct because it's the
Turkey Derby.
The Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium. And from Wall Stadium right now is Emily Krause. And Emily, I know we got this put together very late, but man, I am so glad that you contacted us so we could bring this event to Racing America. Just really want to thank you for that, first off.
I'm really glad you did. Looking forward to it.
Well, Emily, what are your expectations for this weekend? As I know the phones are ringing off the hook there at Wall.
They are ringing off the hook. They're calling me now.
Well, it's okay. What are your expectations? I mean, you told me last week you felt like the entries would flood in, and I mean, the last couple of weeks, you guys have really been nonstop.
We had a really, really busy practice weekend. We had a big turnout, even though it was super cold and the wind was brutal. But we had a lot of cars, some entries that we weren't expecting, a bunch of dirt cars, which we're always excited to see. And the entries are still coming in. They're calling, asking how they enter, because the word is getting out there that we are running the Derby all 3 days. as we used to do traditionally. And they're really excited about it. So I'm really looking forward to some crazy racing here at Wild Wall Stadium, and a packed house as usual.
Well, and another thing, I'm glad you brought that up because, as you said, there's going to be racing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I thought this was really admirable of you and all the folks at Wall Stadium, that instead of making the folks pay for individual days, you said, hey, here it is. We're going to give you all 3 days for one price. And if you're a Racing America subscriber, 50% off.
Of course. Yes, we do everything we can for our fans. We really appreciate them. We love their support. And hey, whatever I can offer to them, times are tough. Everything costs more these days. So I want to bring excellent racing to their phones or to their living rooms. And it shouldn't break the bank. It's something that we can all enjoy, and we should be able to afford to do so.
And just the thing I want folks to know, and we talk about it here on Racing America all the time. Okay, if you're in California and you can't get to the Turkey Derby this weekend or the Snowball Derby, if you watch it on Racing America, when you order your coverage, you are helping the racetrack. We're not just taking all the money here at Racing America. It goes back to the tracks too.
Right. You can still support your local short tracks regardless of where you are. And, there's probably, I love the name Turkey Derby because it makes me think like, you associate it with Thanksgiving. It's almost like the Macy's Day Parade, Thanksgiving Day Parade. Maybe if you're traveling and visiting family, this is going to be an awesome event to watch at home. And like you said, it's been a little cold. You can snuggle up on the couch and watch the Turkey Derby. So, it's awesome that even the folks that can't make it to the track in person can watch at home. So, full 3 days of racing. Where can fans go if they're looking for any last minute information?
There's lots of information on our website, wallspeedwayracing.com. You're welcome to call the racetrack during normal business hours. You can send us an email at wallspeedwayracing@gmail.com or wallstadiumspeedway@gmail.com. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone here at the Derby.
One thing about it is I don't think anyone's having any problem with that calling Wall Stadium part, at least from the beginning of our interview.
Well, the phones are always off the hook for our big events. And now that there's a little bit of rain in the forecast, they're starting to panic because the rain seems to be threatening their favorite event of the year. But what I'm assuring them of is that since it's a 3-day event, we will do everything we can to get the races in, whether that means having a brief rain delay, drying the track, and racing later than we had planned on. Or if we can't get going again, we would bump the remainder of the show to the following day, start there, and then follow through with the rest of our scheduled program. So I'm pretty confident that in 3 days, we'll be able to run most, if not all, of the show.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Emily, because that's something I know that we had talked about last week, is how committed you guys were to getting this race in this weekend. Once again, thank you so much for letting Racing America be a part of the Turkey Derby, and we look forward to watching it this weekend.
Well, thank you so much. A lot would argue that this event is more traditional than the Macy's Day Parade. It's close to people's heart, especially the locals in this area. They've grown up here. They don't miss a Turkey Derby. Even if they've moved out of state, I know we have fans who grow up here who now live in Florida. They come back every year to watch the Turkey Derby. We've been looking forward to it since we've opened in April. It's going to be a hell of a show.
I think you're right.
Yes.
Right.
And unfortunately, we lost a very important part of our racing community here at Wall Stadium, Grandpa, as they call him, John Blewett. He passed very recently. The Turkey Derby won't be the same without him. We will miss him dearly, and we will do our best to honor him. And I would like to I would like to dedicate this year the Turkey Derby 49 to Grandpa Blewett.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned that too. The Blewett family, close to a lot of our hearts, and as you said, it'll be a little bit different without him there this year. But I'm sure he'd like to see the race go on, and as you said, dedicated to him. It'll be a heck of a show, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That I can guarantee.
All right. Well, we thank Emily Krause for joining us from Wall Stadium. When we come back, another race you can watch this weekend, the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial at 417 Southern Speedway. Jared Irvin, he'll be here with us after this.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
I bet, that's what they all say. Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Race fans, it is time for the 2022 Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 from 417 Southern Speedway. Saturday, November 26th, live on Racing America. Watch the best super late model drivers from the state of Florida and around the country battle side by side for 128 laps and a $30,000 payday. You can check out all the racing action live on Racing America.
Cirque Motorsport has been providing industry-leading cleaning and analysis for heat exchangers for over 15 years. Now that same technology is here in the U.S., tailored to your specific competitive needs for every racing market.
The only 100% certain way to know that your cooler is clean.
Go to CirqueMotorsport.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more details on how we can help you gain Cirque speed.
Welcome back to the Bullring presented by Raceface. You know, just this weekend, in addition to the Turkey Derby, we're also going to have the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial from 417 Southern Speedway, $30,000 going to the winner. And one of the guys going for it will be Jared Irvin, who's coming off another track championship at Citrus County Speedway this year. Congratulations. And man, Jared, what did you learn at 417 last year that you feel like might be able to help you going into this year's race?
Well, we definitely learned some stuff for the setup on the car, and then also for the pace of the race. The pace of the race is pretty much just wide open the whole time. I mean, you would think with 128 laps that we wouldn't be able to go that hard the whole time, but it seems like whoever gets out front and stays there, that's who ends up winning the race. So.
I think that we can all agree that the bigger purses are a positive for all the drivers and everyone involved. Do you feel like a big purse truly affects the car count of an event like this?
Yeah, for sure. This is a local Florida race is kind of what they meant for it to be. But with the purse being this large, there's people from coming all over the place that will end up racing there at 417. And from what I've actually heard, this is the last race at 417. So if you want to go and race at that track and you want to have the opportunity to win $30,000 on pavement, which is kind of rare these days, this is the race to do it.
Well, I hope people go out there and support it. It's a great racetrack. And I was glad to be able to go to it last year. I watched you race a lot in Pass South. Those races on similar style racetracks to 417, 150 lappers, but I remember you did have to save something to have there at the end. Why do you think you can push it so hard here and not necessarily have to worry about tire wear?
It's really just the American Racer tire. It takes a beating and it just keeps taking it the whole race. The Hoosier tires we ran in that past South Series, they fell off pretty hard, especially the left sides. But these American Racers, they pretty much they never really feel great, but they feel the same from about 5 laps on until the end of the race. So even when you bolt a new set of tires on, I mean, it may be a little better for a couple laps, but I mean, once that's over, it's pretty much the same speed the rest of the race. And so it seems more like it's pretty critical to get the balance of the car right, because there's not going to be a whole lot of fall off. There's no really strategy when it comes to saving tires better than someone else. And it kind of takes out some of that driver's factor, because the tires are just kind of slipping around all over the place. So it's just whoever doesn't slip as bad as the others. And most of that has to do with setup. So,
well, I think you'll be one of the contenders this weekend. We can't wait to see. Good luck. And if you win, then we'll have you on again.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that's Jared Irvin. You can see him in the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial this weekend at 417. We're here on Racing America. When we come back, we'll wrap up another Bullring.
Every legend has a story. Every story a hero. Before their destinies were written, they raced here in the Snowball Derby. Busch, Elliott, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Wallace, and Pollard, modern-day legends of racing. This year, who will history smile upon? The most prestigious short track race in America takes place December 1st through 4th at Five Flags Speedway. For event information, visit snowballderby.com. Legends start here.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
You know, the show has been so busy today that I didn't even get a chance to mention Brad Keselowski. We found out yesterday is going to be going down to the Derby, and that caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah, I was going to say that was not on my, what do they say, bingo card? That was not on my bingo card. So, I don't think that was on anyone's radar.
Yeah, so he'll join William Byron and Eric Jones down there, and Noah Gragson, who's now a Cup driver. Some of the big names coming in from NASCAR. You will have live episodes of the Bullring next Thursday and Friday at the Hooters Big Tent
Okay, let me write that down.
Yep, and I'm just letting you know that, so I'll make sure that Jess is there. We want to thank all of our guests today, and since it would take way more time than I want to take doing it right now, I will just say thank you to all of them. Be sure to tune in to the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial and Turkey Derby. We've got complete coverage for you this weekend on Racing America. For Jess Ballard, I'm Alan Dietz saying so long, and we'll see you at the Derby next week.
The 55th Annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway. It's the pavement every driver wants to race. 300 laps. Only one driver can take home the title. Don't miss your chance to watch history. Only on Racing America and racingamerica.com.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Get up on your feet, race fans.
Can you believe it? Right now, racing, in my opinion, is as healthy as it's been in the last 15 to 20 years.
Just wanting to make that first lap.
Race fans, it is time for the 2022 Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 from 417 Southern Speedway. Saturday, November 26th, live on Racing America. Watch the best super late model drivers from the state of Florida and around the country battle side by side for 128 laps and a $30,000 payday. You can check out all the racing action live on Racing America.